So I said, get down on your knees, Siobhan. Just fall on your knees. And I sat on her. I thought she was playing. I said, stop playing. I said, Siobhan, get up. And she didn't move.
Miss Ignorant over here is 66-year-old Veronica Posey, who claims she sat on her 9-year-old cousin, Chavonne, and accidentally killed her in the process. But behind Posey's ignorance was a dark secret that she and Chavonne's foster parents, Grace and James, were hiding in their house of horrors.
The best that you can remember, she's on her knees.
Yeah.
And what are her arms doing? Are her arms on the chair? Or is she still fighting, pushing away?
Her arms are probably in the chair.
Behind closed doors, the house became a breeding ground for cruelty and control. But what could have driven Chavonne's foster parents and Posey to such terrifying extremes, especially when she was just a child? This tragic story takes place in Pensacola, Florida on October 14th, 2017, with Posey dialing 911.
We have a 10-year-old who is either faking it or is not breathing right now. She's been had a knife, gonna cut her uncle and aunt, talking to them, being disrespectful. And I came over here to correct her, and she was fighting against us. And I had her sit in a chair. And she was barking and stuff and didn't want to move. So when I released her, I told her to get up. She wouldn't get up.
Unfortunately, young Chavonne had already passed away by the time officers arrived at the scene. While it was clear she had died from suffocation, the officers needed more than just the cause. They needed the truth. And so, to uncover what really happened, they brought Veronica Posey in for questioning.
Oh, it's so sad.
You just want to get it over with.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we can start talking, I'm going to read this to you.
Okay.
If you have any questions, I want you to stop and ask me. All right, Miss Posey. Let me get your information first because I don't have it. I know they probably got it from you already, but I want to have it too. Do you work anywhere?
I'm retired from Controller's office. Medically.
From what?
I retired medically from the Controller's office.
Oh, okay.
When Joe Falwell was there, I was a key punch operator.
Oh, okay. How long did you do that?
About 15 years.
When did you retire?
May 1995.
Okay, so you've been retired for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. You are Siobhan's, and we call her Siobhan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You are Siobhan's, I guess.
Second cousin.
Okay, so second cousin. Is that a biological relationship or?
Yes.
Okay.
Her father is my first cousin.
And her father's name is what?
Derrick.
Derek?
Yes, Derrick.
What's his last name?
Lindsay.
Derek Lindsay. Okay.
And his mother is my father's sister. So it's biological.
Okay. All right. And then you are Grace's sister?
Niece.
Niece. Okay. All right.
To make it clear, Chavonne's foster parents were related to Veronica Posey, and Posey herself was Chavonne's cousin by blood. Despite the unusually large age gap between them, they were biologically connected. Now that the initial facts are on the table, it's time to take a closer look at what really happened inside that house.
So, I guess Grace, did she call you today, or
Yeah,
how
she
did you
did.
end up over at the house?
I was at home in the bed, sleeping, because my great-granddaughter was coming over at 2 o'clock because her mother and her boyfriend were going to Tallahassee to a show.
Okay.
And so Grace woke me up with the telephone.
What time was that?
I'll say about 12,
Okay.
12-ish, I don't know. Wait a minute. About 11:30, because I was taking my time getting there.
Mm-hmm.
And she called and she said, Veronica, I need you to come over here. Siobhan is cutting up.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I need you to help me hold her. She's running, she won't let me whoop her. See, when I come, it's a whole nother atmosphere with the kids.
Okay.
And I said, okay, I'll be there in 20 minutes or so. So I probably got there about 12:15, something like that.
Okay.
Because I took my time. I hadn't ate breakfast or anything, and I take a lot of medication. So I ate a cup of Jell-O and a banana muffin as I drove over there. That's how I got there. She called me.
Okay.
Oh, now you want me to continue what happened?
Yeah, just kind
Okay.
of, just walk me through it.
And so I knew Siobhan was going to cut up. So I had one of those broken wood rulers, yardsticks.
Okay.
And I had a Liberty Light pipe that just to keep the ruler from breaking, or it would put a little weight to it.
Okay.
And,
So is it taped onto the ruler?
No,
or?
it was just on my hand.
Oh, okay. So you just kind of put them together.
Yeah, and hit her with the ruler. And so when I got there, we was trying to constrain her for Grace to whoop her because she wanted to whoop her.
Mm-hmm.
But she was cutting up. She was acting something terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And
what was she doing?
fighting against us, bucking, saying what she wasn't going to do, and this wasn't true, and, just being defiant.
Mm-hmm.
It's true that children sometimes lie when they're scared, but that's not always the case. In this situation, there was no way Posey could have known what truly went on inside the house before she arrived. Yet she blindly sided with Grace and James, choosing to help them restrain Chavonne. And this is where things start to take a deeply troubling turn.
So normally when I go there, I haven't been over there in a while because I told my aunt, I said, look, I end up in jail behind these kids because they're out of control. So I hadn't been over there in about a month or so.
Mm-hmm.
Because after the state called me, and I had them for about a week to give my aunt a release because Siobhan had been cutting up so bad with them over there. I had her and Rachel both. They don't give me no problems. They're good kids, but at home, they're holy terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my aunt, I said, you know what? They know James has a disability. He has short-term memory. And you need to get your hand taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to be codependent on them. And they can stop acting like they're grown and run the house. I said, so it's best for me to stay home. Because they were very manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved them.
Mm-hmm.
And they loved me. They don't get disrespectful for me. Because I told them, I said, I'm going to spank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to run over me. You're not going to talk to me no any kind of way. You're only 8 and 9 years old. You got to respect your elders. I said, because you know James and Grace are handicapped. And you're taking advantage of it. And so when she called me, like I said, I ate a banana muffin and Jell-O and took my medication. And I went over there. So they tried to open the front door, but they couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because Siobhan had put a knife in the door to try to get out. They said the night before, because my aunt told her she was going to whoop her behind, because she was threatening them. And so I said, okay, don't worry about it. I'll walk around to the back door, open the back door. So Grace opened the back door and I went into the house. And of course, hey, cousin Veronica, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. I said, Siobhan, I said, Grace told me she got ready to whoop you and you ran again. I said, what I tell you about running away from James and Grace? I told you have to respect them. They take care of you. They buy you clothes. You get the best of the best. And yet you talk to them like they're nothing. And Grace said, well, she had a knife. She was going to cut her. She had a hammer. I said, Shavonne, what's wrong with you? Lost your mind or something? I said, the minute I walk in the door, are you in my presence? It's yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and everything is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I proceed to try to restrain her for Grace to hold her. But of course, I've had 2 back surgeries and a rotary cup surgery a year ago. So I asked James, I said, James, help me restrain her for Grace to whoop her. So Grace hit her with the belt about, I don't know, maybe 10 licks or something like that.
Now, was James there?
Yes.
So James was helping you
Restrain her.
restrain her.
Yeah. And so we released her. I said, now, Siobhan, you've been over here. Grace and James was there, and they was telling me what she had done.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, she took a knife when Grace locked the door last night so she could unlock the door to get out so she wouldn't get a whooping.
Okay.
And part of the knife is stuck in the lock. Then Grace was telling me about the knife and the hammer.
First of all, there isn't a single normal 9-year-old child who wouldn't try to run if they knew they were about to be punished, and Chavonne did exactly that. But she was quickly caught and restrained by James and Posey, while Grace beat her with a belt. Punishments might be normal in any household, but in this one, they had crossed the line by turning discipline into horror, and a young girl into a victim instead of a child to protect. Yet, even after everything, Posey still stands by it all, and what she says next will push that twisted logic into outright foolishness.
And James was talking about how she was talking back at him and how she had got into Grace's face, and she's been really abusive. And this is not the first time, but this is the first time it's been this terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, Siobhan, later on, I'm going to whoop your. So I had the little ruler with the little light pipe on it in my hand, not take together, nothing. And I was whooping her on her because I don't like legs, and I hate you on the. And she started bucking and fighting and running and stuff, and we were trying to restrain her. And she was jumping across the couch, just like, I'm the boss here.
Mm-hmm.
You have no control here. So I said, okay. So I said, Siobhan, I caught her by the shirt, and we were at the chair. And I said, sit down. And she wouldn't sit down. She was bucking and rolling and everything. So I said, okay, Siobhan, get on your knees. Because she was in front of the chair, like holding on the wall to keep from sitting down.
Okay.
So I said, get down on your knees, Siobhan. Just fall on your knees. And when she went down on her knees, I had an opportunity to restrain her. And I sat on her to try to restrain her. And she kept kicking and bucking against the wall. And she said, Cousin Veronica, I can't breathe. I said, oh, Siobhan, you playing? Yes, you can. I said, you have room to raise your head, and I'm not on your whole upper part. I'm just sitting on the rear end of you. Mm-hmm. You got room? So she said, I can't breathe. So I sit there for a moment, and she stopped bucking. So I said, I got up. I said, Chavonne, get up. I thought she was playing. I said, Chavonne, get up. She didn't move. I said, Siobhan, get up. I said, stop playing. You're not going to get another weapon, get up. And she didn't move. So then I asked Grace, do you have some ammonia? Because I could put it under her nose if the heat had got to her or something in the midst of struggling, to bring her back. And she said, no, she had vinegar. I put some vinegar on a paper towel. She didn't move. So I asked for a bottle of water. Then I poured some on the back of her neck. She still didn't move. So I started feeling for a pulse.
Mm-hmm.
I said, y'all help, because I couldn't pick her up. She's too heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, y'all help me. We tried to pick her up from the chair. I said, Grace, we need to call 911. I'm not getting up. I didn't get nothing. I said, we need to call 911.
This is Siobhan, and this is Veronica Posey. And that's the tragic irony. Posey, weighing 320 pounds, sat on Siobhan for 6 full minutes and somehow expected nothing would happen. Then, when Siobhan stopped breathing, Posey claimed she couldn't lift her up because she was too heavy. That level of ignorance and carelessness cost Siobhan her life. Even after that, Posey remained fixated on how disrespectful Siobhan supposedly was. But here's the thing. Only Posey, Grace, and James painted Siobhan in a negative light. No one else who knew her ever described her that way. And that alone speaks volumes.
It wasn't intentionally. I loved him and they loved me.
Mm-hmm.
But they would give me a respect that they wouldn't give my aunt and uncle.
Mm-hmm.
You could take them anywhere normally and they'll do fine. But at home, they were destructive. They just were like animals. But I would go over there and sit and talk to them. And sometimes we would go riding and ice cream, I'd pick them up from the beauty shop and take them home. Just keeping it, talk to them about respect and doing good in schools and Siobhan about her attitude and her mouth. And baby, you only 9 years old. You can't do what you do. I said, Grace, what are you going to do? She's 12. She's just 9. And that's what happened.
Okay. Well, so there's a couple things that I want to go back and talk a little bit more about, okay? First of all, I know that you're hearing this information from Grace, but
Yeah.
When did they say that this stuff happened with the knife and the hammer?
The night before and in the morning, the earlier part of today, I think.
Okay, so it's something that happened last night and kind of continued over until this morning?
Yes.
Okay, did Grace ever tell you exactly what happened with the knife and the hammer?
She told me Siobhan tried to cut her with the knife.
Okay.
And I can't remember what James said something about the knife too.
Okay.
But I can't remember what his part was about the knife.
Okay. So when you got there, you went in the back door, and how long were you there before you started
Anything happened?
trying to discipline her?
I walked in the door and I was talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe 15 or 20 minutes.
Okay, so you were trying to talk some sense into her.
Yeah.
And what was she doing?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Like she always does when I talk to her.
Okay.
But the minute James or Grace say something, that's not true. I didn't do that and you this. I said, they're lying, Siobhan. They take care of you, baby.
So how did it go from she's being respectful to you to spanking her? How did it get to that point where we can't talk anymore? Now it's got to be
Well, we were
discipline.
restraining her for Grace because Grace was the one that was punishing her.
Okay.
And she was bucking against Grace. And she refused to cooperate with Grace to get the whooping Grace was going to give her. I say whooping, a little light belt.
So what was the punishment for? What was the whooping going to be for?
Grace was getting on her about talking to her so disrespectful, about the knife, about the tip of the knife in the doorknob, and I think the hammer. I don't, you know.
Okay.
I
But it was
wasn't.
kind of for everything.
It was for everything.
And that was the punishment that she was going to carry out.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said it was a belt?
Yes.
And where did the belt come from?
It's Grace's.
Okay.
Posey kept trying to paint Chavonne as a nightmare for Grace and James, as if that would somehow justify what happened. Sure, children can be difficult at times, but the punishment Chavonne received was beyond anything reasonable. When officers reviewed the autopsy report, they found severe injuries that made it clear Chavonne had been subjected to ongoing abuse and torture long before the day she died. And just when you'd think she'd run out of excuses, Posey would go on to paint Chavonne as the villain in her own story.
But in the process of Grace hitting her, she jumped up and she started kicking and bucking and refusing the punishment Grace was given.
Okay.
So then, that's when I stepped in. I had spoken to her about getting expelled from school. And prior to, there's an enormous amount of money that Siobhan has taken from my aunt in jury and
Right. She told me about that.
all of that stuff. And so I had told her, I said, Siobhan, when I see you, I'm going to beat you. You know better to get expelled from school. Why did you take school property, remove the serial numbers, and then take it back to school? And then when the principal tried to talk to you, I understand you got plenty of attitude. Because I asked Grace, I said, Grace, let me go with her. I don't want to say a word. I just want to sit in the room and check her attitude. Because she would correct it if I'm sitting there. I don't have to say a word. But just the idea I'm in the room, it's going to be a whole nother attitude.
Okay.
Really. And so I said, I told you I was going to get you for that. I said, y'all hadn't seen me for a long time. Number one, I've been at home with kidney stones the last, 6 weeks or so. I've been sick myself. And then I said, I stayed away because I'm not going to jail behind no children. And the way you approach them is just disrespectful.
But now it's quite clear that Posey might be heading to jail. Even as she keeps complaining about Siobhan, the detective knows they need detailed answers about how the child really died. Sure, the idea of sitting on someone and killing them is shocking and unusual, yet still plausible. But what if that wasn't the full truth? What if Siobhan's death happened in a completely different way?
So, Grace is whipping her with the belt.
Yes,
She's connecting with her
with the belt.
with the belt. Okay. And Siobhan's kind of bucking, trying to get away.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you ended up taking, did you take the belt or did
No,
you use your ruler?
I used the ruler
Okay.
because I didn't want to use the belt or anything. I just wanted to use the ruler to let her know I meant business.
Okay.
And
So did Grace stop what she was doing?
Yes.
Did you just kind of say, let me take care of this, or how did that happen?
When she started bucking and running, Grace stopped. I said, leave her alone, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I began to spank her.
Okay. With the ruler.
With the ruler.
Okay. How many times do you think that you hit her with that ruler?
It may have been 7, 8 times, something like that. I don't remember.
And this is still the ruler with the pipe on the back end of it to keep the ruler from breaking?
Yeah, but the ruler broke.
Oh, the ruler broke.
It broke,
Okay.
yeah. And so that ended, and when the ruler broke, that's when she broke away and started running.
Okay.
And we were trying to contain her. And she had gotten away and ran around the couch, and then James blocked her. When he blocked her, I caught the back of the shirt, and that's when when she bent over towards the wall over the chair.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how she got down on her knees.
Okay.
What Posey doesn't seem to realize is that in trying to explain herself, she's actually describing torture. Chavonne doesn't come across as a misbehaving child, but she seems like a scared little girl running to avoid getting hurt. And now we're about to see exactly how the tragic incident unfolded.
So she was on that chair. It's just a little one-person chair
Yeah.
with a plastic covering on it.
Yes.
Okay, so she was, let's say this is that chair. Would it be fair to say that she got in the chair and she was like this?
No.
No? Okay.
She was standing, leaning up against the chair. Yes.
Okay, so let's say it's exactly against the wall like that chair was.
It's not exact.
Is that about right?
That's about right.
Okay. So she's kind of like this, maybe?
Over the top of the chair.
Did she have her knees in the chair?
No, she was standing up.
So she was just standing and she's trying to brace herself against the wall, maybe?
To get away, yes.
Okay.
And I said, okay, Siobhan, you can't go nowhere. I said, drop to your knees. She said, I can't. I said, yes, you can. I said, drop to your knees.
Okay.
And she did.
So when she dropped to her knees, did her knees go onto the chair? Or did they go onto the floor?
I think they went to the floor. I
Okay.
can't remember. Because she kept saying, I can't. I said, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And when I said, drop to the floor, and she thought she wasn't going no further, I can't remember if her knee going into the chair. I don't remember. All I know is that she went down on her knees.
Okay, so you kind of think she was on the floor at that point with her knees, like maybe this. She dropped to her knees.
Yes.
Why couldn't she get on her knees? Why was she saying she couldn't get on her knees?
She didn't want to.
She just didn't want to?
She didn't want to get on her knees.
Did you guys force her down onto her knees? Did you guys maybe kick her feet out from under her or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No, none of that. But the thing is that there's a pole. I don't know what you call them.
Like a column?
A column.
Okay.
Right in front of that chair.
Mm-hmm.
So she was kicking against the column and raising up and I couldn't get a grip on her. To calm her down.
So would the column be here or would the column be here? Because I haven't been in the house, so I don't know.
It would be in front of the chair.
Okay, so it would. So this is the chair. Let's just say this is the chair. So it's going to be somewhere here.
Yes.
Okay, so she was sort of using the column to
kick and push her body. That's one reason why she didn't kneel in the chair, I don't think, because she was pushing against the wall.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying?
So maybe she was kind of like suspended in the air a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
From the back of the chair. She wasn't on the wall. She was holding on to the back of the chair.
Uh-huh.
And that's what happened.
So how, from that point, did you end up
sitting on her? When she went down on her knees,
mm-hmm.
and she was bucking and flipping in the chair and stuff, I said, Siobhan, stop. I want to get up. I said, Siobhan, stop. I said, you're not cooperating with us. So she kept on bucking. I said, okay, I know what to do. I'll just sit here and restrain you till you decide to calm down. And that's what happened.
Okay. When you sat down, how was she positioned?
On her knees, with her face upward. She wasn't down into the plastic.
Okay.
Her head was up.
Okay.
And she said, I can't. I said, you can. I said, Chavonne, you talking to me. And I was saying, well, why'd you do this to me? She was answering me. We was having a conversation.
Uh-huh.
To remind once again, Posey sat on Chavonne for 6 full minutes. Naturally, a person doesn't die instantly from suffocation. But in Posey's genius mind, as long as Chavonne was initially talking, she thought nothing serious would happen. And it was that kind of smart thinking that turned out to be deadly.
Okay, so she's answering you. You're asking her these questions. She's answering you. So, you said that, and I'm going to demonstrate again.
Okay.
Just I want to make sure that I've got it clear in my mind how this happened. So she's on her knees, the best that you can remember. She's on her knees.
Yeah.
And what are her arms doing? Are her arms on the chair, or is she still fighting, pushing away?
Her arms, because she's behind me, her arms are probably in the chair. Because she's, that was before I sit down.
Okay,
To stop her from pushing against the pole and bucking and trying to kick us. And do the position again.
Okay, so
I think she was had her arms like this.
So she's maybe like this?
Yes.
But her head's up, and
Yes.
she's not in the plastic at this point.
No.
And you're sitting on her, right?
I sit on her about that time.
About this time is when you sit to keep her from
bucking.
Doing any more. Okay. And you're, at this point, you think she probably hasn't moved. Would that be safe to say? Did her arms start flaring around or anything? Did she start hitting you or anything?
No, she didn't hit me or anything. It was just her feet and her bucking.
She's just moving. You can feel her squirming?
Yeah, she was squirming.
Okay.
Even when I was sitting there trying to hold her down, she was bucking up and down. And, she's on her face in the chair. And instead of just calming down so we can talk to her, she, my head back, sir. Remember, she's lean, and she's on her knees in the chair, prayer position. And she's still bucking with her back and to try to get away.
Okay. And you said you had this conversation with her. So, you were sitting there for, how long would you say?
Maybe 5 or 6 minutes, I guess.
5 or 6 minutes carrying on this conversation.
And I said, well, and this keep ringing in my ears because my baby gone. I said, Siobhan, why do you do what you do? I don't know. I said, well, you don't do it with me. Why do you do it? You're my cousin. I love you. I said, booby crap, you don't love me. That's the way we were talking. It wasn't no screaming, no yelling. It's just a freak accident.
So, whenever she finally said she couldn't breathe.
That's when I moved.
Okay.
She said it 2 times. She said, Cousin Veronica can't breathe. I said, Vaughn, stop praying. You're just trying to get up from here because you can't move. You're trying to, I calmed her down so her legs had stopped bucking.
Okay.
I said, you're just trying to get up from here. So, because I'm controlling you right now. She said, no, I can't breathe. I said, oh, Javon, you're playing. Stop it, girl. So I sit there for a minute and I got up.
Okay. And that's when you realized
that she was not moving.
Okay.
It's almost laughable how Posey confidently claims she got up just 1 minute after Chavonne said she couldn't breathe. What's even more disturbing is the position Chavonne was in when Posey pressed down on her. It was a position that would be dangerous even for an adult, let alone a 9-year-old child. But Posey, while clearly lacking in intelligence, would surely make up for it with her over-the-top confidence.
Were you putting all of your body weight
No.
towards the chair or
Towards the end of the chair.
Towards the end of the chair?
Yeah, where her was.
Okay.
Not just lean. Because she couldn't, if I did that, she wouldn't be able to breathe. She wouldn't be able to move. I was just trying to control her. And I had my feet on the floor. So my complete weight was not on her.
Okay.
It was just enough to reframe her from the bucking and the way she was popping her back, like pushing against it. Because her hands was in the chair. She was pushing her body up against me. That's what she was doing.
Okay. So you're saying that you were kind of maybe not putting all of your pressure on her. So do you kind of feel like maybe you were doing like this? Like maybe a little bit of a squat or something?
Yeah, more of a squat, but not complete, like this. I'll show you how I was doing. I was like, okay, Siobhan, cut it out. Cut it out. like that. Not complete body weight, because she couldn't take it. She's a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, even how heavy she was, she's still a little girl. She couldn't take all that pressure. But because she had room enough to wiggle and move around, but I had her restrained so she couldn't move.
Posey couldn't even control her own weight when she tried to demonstrate how she sat on Chavonne. It was obvious that squatting was nearly impossible for her. So it's safe to say that Posey crushed her precious little girl, making her suffer to death, even after she begged her to stop. At that point, it was no longer an accident. It was murder. But what about the other two who just watched Chavonne die?
And when this is going on, tell me where Grace is.
Grace is in a chair.
She was in her chair?
Yeah, she was sitting at the end of the couch.
Okay.
In her chair.
Where is James?
He was either sitting down at the end of the table or standing up.
But he was right there watching all of it?
Yes.
Okay. Did James ever strike her with anything?
I know they struggled, but I can't remember him hitting her.
Okay.
Because, I was busy trying to hold her myself, so I couldn't really pay attention to James.
Okay.
It was like, he wanted to hit her, I know, and I said, no, don't hit her.
What did he say?
He said, that's why when Grace asked me to restrain them, and she gets disrespectful, like she wants to hurt me. And see, he's not well himself.
Mm-hmm.
So to keep his blood pressure down and stuff, he refrains from a lot of what's going on in the house.
Is there anything else you can think of that I need to know about?
That's about it.
Okay. All right.
Of course, when I had my weight on her, mm-hmm. and she was bucking, of course I was tapping on her. Siobhan, quit, mm-hmm. quit. But it wasn't hurtful. It was just to try to calm her down.
Okay.
But none of that.
Okay.
No neck grabbing and none of that.
And I hate to ask you this question, but
go ahead.
It is kind of relevant. I know I hate when people ask me, but how much do you weigh, just about?
320, I think.
320. Okay. All right. One thing that I want to do before we leave is, whenever we have a crime scene or anything like that, we'll get samples from people for their DNA. We know that you touched her at some point. We know that. So I'd like to get just a quick sample from you.
Okay.
And right after taking the swab for DNA analysis, the detective was on the verge of uncovering something sinister. It was the kind of evidence that would confirm their worst fears by turning all their assumptions about Siobhan being tortured into undeniable reality.
Oh, one thing that I didn't ask you, when Grace was hitting her with the belt, was she using the hand that's bandaged or the other hand?
Probably, I don't remember, but most likely because the other hand was bandaged, mm-hmm. the one that was free.
Okay.
Which means she doesn't have a lot of strength in that hand.
Is that her non-dominant hand? Or do you know?
She's right-handed.
She's right-handed.
Nature.
Okay.
So, but because of her hand, she has been using her left, but it's just scribble scrabble, it's nothing.
How long has her hand been like that?
About a year, maybe.
Oh, okay.
For a whole year, Siobhan lived with injuries, and during the autopsy, even more hidden wounds were discovered. It was a clear and undeniable sign that the home of Grace and James was nothing short of a living hell for Siobhan. Now, do you believe it was a freak accident like Posey claimed, or was it a continued torture of a child in a house of horror? And should the punishment have been the same for all of them? With that being asked, Grace Smith was convicted of aggravated manslaughter of a child and aggravated child abuse, receiving a 20-year prison sentence. James Smith pled no contest to aggravated manslaughter of a child and was sentenced to 10 years. Finally, Veronica Posey was convicted of first-degree felony murder and aggravated child abuse, getting the harshest charge of the three.